back in business. I am your host, Bill Noble. If you need a roadmap in crypto, subscribe to this channel. Turn on alerts so you know when we're going live. And if the content works for you, please hit the thumbs up. All right, we had some technical problems today. We are back, hopefully. I want to see if we're on Twitter. Please let us know if you can hear us. Today, we will be talking Ethereum 5000. That's right, Ethereum 5000. Okay, now let's start with welcoming who's here. If there's anyone still here. Pancakes and peanut butter. David, welcome. Digital Bobby, Thorson, Hans, Bull Runner, Steve J, T-Pod. Welcome, Aaron S. Baby Will, Gian, Gail, Aiken with the Notorious Love, Steve J, Indie Rock Crypto, Bart, Steve Mesa, James, Boom Tomb, Richard Barry. Welcome. All right, we're going to keep going because it's on Twitter. I think if you're on YouTube, you're going to have to move to Twitter. So I'm going to go right into the news so we don't totally lose the day. Okay. Jim Cramer says, pondering Ethereum. Now, just to introduce the topic, there's a huge macro case for Ethereum. Okay, green fiat lower, metals higher. Statistically, based on stuff that I've done in the past, you can have absolutely monster moves in Ethereum. This was a statistical study done by a Wall Street economist, and I even have something that shows oil could go lower, which is good for Bitcoin. So after a pause that refreshes, I'm guessing Ethereum can go right to an all-time high. Matter of fact, so can Bitcoin. All right. Now I'm understanding that the stream is now working on YouTube. Okay. Now, when you have these type of macro and micro developments, so how did we get a micro development? How did that happen? Like, how did all of a sudden we got an ETF approval? Well, I think powerful investment banks told certain people in power that now is the time. Okay, particularly since it's a voting issue for the month after October. Then there was an amendment to the applications done by Cathie Wood. Okay, there was an amendment to the application done by Cathie Wood, which was an indication that they had been in talks with the government. By the way, we are back on YouTube. We are back on YouTube. They had done an amendment to the application, which meant they were in discussion with the government. Then all the other ETF applications fell in place. They essentially got rid of the staking feature. So here's the situation that we now have, keeping it really simple. As Jim ponders, right? As Jim ponders. We have dollar down, metals up. We have, I'm not sure if the street has bought all the Bitcoin that they need. And now they're grabbing Bitcoin futures, Ethereum futures, and anything they get their hands on, because once this is approved, the amount of buying that's going to come in, they're going to have to market buy the ETF, the ETH. In other words, with the Bitcoin ETF, they had 12 months to get ready, 12 months to buy. Now, once the money starts coming in, even if they don't buy all of it, they're going to absolutely have to market buy stuff, futures, options, and spot. So a 20% gain in one day has probably got people backing off. Not a good idea. Not a good idea. Again, my understanding is we are now back on YouTube. Okay. Now let's go to price targets for Ethereum. Standard Chartered Bank. This is like the Wall Street hyperbole bank. Okay, they say Ethereum 8,000. Ethereum 8,000. Now, let's go through how it would get there. The first thing is Bitcoin's probably going to take out its all-time high next couple days. Definitely by the end of this month with the consensus conference. Then ETH probably follows if ETH doesn't go sooner. When we get to the charts, once ETH takes out its all-time high, you could be talking about price discovery to like 5,000. 8,000 is probably an end of the year target unless you get sharp downward price action in green paper or a bigger up move in gold and silver. Not to mention the fact that ETH is the gateway to DeFi. So if we need real world assets and we need to get on chain, then that would be ETH and ETH DeFi. Noticing coins like Maple, right, and meme coins, separate issue on ETH, are up 10% because it's largely under-owned. It's under-owned. But just as a reminder, this show is brought to you by my Patreon. There's a link down below, patreon.com/unhingedcrypto. You want to check us out with this QR code, and you want to check out in the links down below, and we're going to put it in the comments over on YouTube. Definitely appreciate everybody who stayed with us here. We have Satoshi Nakamoto is here, right? We have Crypto Crazy that I see on Twitter, the Twitter gang representing, and I appreciate that. Make sure you check out Patreon, because when we're doing Patreon, we're doing like 5 or 6 altcoins a week minimum. We're doing charts and stuff on ETH. Plus, you know, between the ETH approvals, what's happening with the economy, the event in November, okay? Plus, you know, some of the more, let's call them spiritual reasons for crypto. Very hard to talk about on any kind of social media, particularly since there are a bunch of human meme coins that I think are going to be very powerful. And that is discussed in Patreon in kind of a, you know, it's casual, but it's also no holds barred. So please go check that out. Ethereum to 8,000. The other thing that I want to remind everybody about, especially when it comes to like DeFi and you're seeing the price action in the ETH memes, is that when ETH moves, right, it becomes like power to buy these other coins, right? So you normally in other cycles, you get an alt season after you get a Bitcoin and an Ethereum run. Because once people have a sudden, you know, 40% jump in their purchasing power, because ETH went up and certain alts went down initially, you get this major turn. And then there's stuff like DGen and all these base coins, base and the layer 2s, right? All the coins traveling on these layer 2s that were destroyed are turning around and coming back. So if you have base picking up, the macro picking up, and ETH picking up all at the same time, that's how you get Standard Chartered prices. Okay, Red Lobster, a place I went a lot as a kid, done. Going out to eat is over. I met with somebody who was a high net worth individual over the weekend. They said they were done. They said they were done. That means the rest of us are out. Okay, Wall Street Silver discussing, you know, it's sort of like the new inflation disaster stuff is about the prices of fast food comparing 2019 to 2024. Okay, so inflation creates demand destruction. Demand destruction creates a rollover in the economy. That's about as far as I can go. It can be hard to get a job, okay? And statistics are not what they think they are in an election year. Rate cuts are coming. Donato is here. Welcome. Forget about it came back. Harjo from the Netherlands jumping in. Welcome. Inflation is topping. Now, whether it tops now or whether it tops in June, there is a very important point here in that DCA in May worked. A big theme in the Patreon. DCA in May worked. A lot of people this morning, you know, Lochez, Spartan 300, going, yeah, DCA paid off just like going to the gym. You got to take the pain before you get the gain. It's as simple as that. If inflation tops, and you start to get rate cuts on top of this, you could get a monstrous move. Keep in mind, so many people thought the cycle was over. The cycle has only just begun. U.S. home sale prices hit a record high. Okay. Meanwhile, the total number of houses for sale sits at a 4-year high because nobody can afford to buy them. Something has to give on housing, probably both prices and rates. Now, here's what CNBC has to say about it. Ethereum jumps 20% on renewed optimism for an Ethereum ETF. Okay, this is like the big headline. As Cramer thinks about it. No, you better not spend too much time thinking about it. And like in many cases, remember, and we'll go over these charts. First of all, ETH never moved during this cycle, really. All it really did was unwind the FTX debacle. That's it. That's it. So when you see up 20%, okay, yeah, that looks like a lot, but it really isn't because ETH hadn't done anything. I mean, ask yourself this about Solana. Do you have a problem buying Solana up 20%? No. Solana went from 120 to 180. Nobody had a problem buying it. Okay, it wasn't all in one day, but, you know, 20% moves in these big layer ones, whatever. It's like same thing with equities. When equities get, you know, really get hammered and then they start coming back and you get 8 and 10% moves in one day. Yeah, okay, maybe it consolidates for a day or two, but the fact that it rallied that much in one day, all it meant was no one owned it. And you know what? When you go up that much in one day, I just remembered this, it means no one bought it. Like if something goes up 20%, it meant that there was no seller and whatever buyers there were had to chase the market up. But in terms of the people that are going to have to buy huge quantities of Ethereum, they haven't started yet. Yeah, they got some yesterday. Yeah, you had some leverage liquidators. You know, you had people get stopped out. Yeah, open interest in Ethereum futures went up because institutions are trying to grab everything that they can. But mainly like retail, hedge funds, even the bigger players, they're not ready. They're not ready. And I don't think there's a seller in Ethereum. I don't think there's the supply in Ethereum. And again, in Bitcoin, you had a year to get ready. When something goes up 20% in one day, there is no seller. Crypto-related stocks are trading up. Again, I'm never going to stop. Galaxy Digital, MicroStrategy, Bitcoin miners. I mean, if you have Bitcoin and Ethereum moving, a crypto hedge fund, a publicly traded crypto hedge fund is trading at $13 and the all-time high is 43. The whole NFT market, the whole altcoin market, you're going to have Solana memes, ETH DeFi, real-world assets all moving at the same time. And I haven't mentioned the AI coins. That will probably come afterwards. That'll probably come afterwards. All right, let me see if I can see who's here. I see Bull Runner, BitBoy Al jumping in. Patriot Caveman is here. Bart, Indie Rock Crypto. Okay, welcome. Appreciate everybody jumping in. We had technical problems. Thank you. Thank you for staying with us. Okay. Do potential spot Ethereum ETF approvals signal a shift in crypto policy? Gee, you think? You think? There's going to be a lot of people who are going to be changing their minds about crypto, particularly after this consensus conference where there are going to be, you know, there were all these regulatory talks that are normally like, oh, you know, doom and gloom. Oh my God, I remember this thing from pre-Celsius. I mean, everybody's like, oh my God, regulation. People were about to get regulatory clarity. I mean, ETH is obviously not a security if they're putting it in an ETF. All this nonsense is just going to stop. So, I mean, all you needed for regulatory clarity, we didn't need someone to tell us something. We needed everybody to just basically leave us alone. I mean, yeah, of course, there are things in crypto you have to stop bad people from doing bad things. But regulatory clarity is an absence of government interference. $280 million in short liquidations. You know what? Not to be a jerk, but I mean, if you looked at what I put in Patreon over the last 4 days, I mean, I had stuff from guys I knew on Twitter. I had stuff like my own charts. I had ETH versus the dollar index. Who was short Ethereum? Why were you short Ethereum? Like, okay, maybe I guess it's an easy short if you had to be short something because it didn't move. But who wanted to be short Ethereum below 3,000, ETF or not? I mean, am I crazy? They left it below 3,000. And I'm like, guys. And now everyone's afraid to buy it. We're going to go over that. That's insane. It's insane. $3,800 Ethereum. Like, if you didn't know about the price action from yesterday, if I walked up to you on the street or at Consensus and I said, hey, what do you think about Ethereum like 3,700? What do you think? Oh, that's not bad. That's reasonable. Okay. Because now Fidelity also thinks so. Because I think this is, I mean, this is just, basically they just took the staking part out. I mean, in other words, it was a minor revision. It's like, yeah, they wanted to stake the Ethereum that they own. The government was like, no. Okay. Fidelity is in. Like, ask yourself this about investment banks. They got to keep pounding the table on this. Pounding the table. If you missed the Bitcoin ETF, if BlackRock ate your lunch, are you going to miss the Ethereum ETF? Or are you going to like redouble your efforts to make sure that Larry doesn't just take everybody out, right? I mean, the marketing on this is going to be unbelievable. Remember the TV commercials? Remember all this stuff? I mean, everyone has already forgotten about the impact of the Bitcoin ETF. Everybody thought it was sell the fact, and undoubtedly there are people who are going to be like, yeah, sell the fact in ETH. Not true. I mean, I think the all-time high is going to bite the dust by the end of the month, if not sooner. As you can see, the asset allocation, you can see today, this is March 21st, you can see what's called dispersion, right? You can see altcoins moving up and down, which means crypto hedge funds are massively adjusting their portfolios, right? Everyone was probably like overloaded Solana everything and had no exposure to ETH and DeFi and ETH memes. So they got to like turn their whole book around, which is going to give you a huge opportunity probably in Solana and possibly even in Bitcoin. So ETH going up is good for everybody. It's literally good for everybody. All right, we have Bull Runner joining YouTube. Welcome. We have Wiley on Twitter. Appreciate you guys. A lot more crypto. Brick Dreams is here. Actually, sir, you're not too late. You're not too early. You were super right on time because we had technical problems. Oh, Steve J wants DeFi perp. All right. I don't even know if I have to chart it. I will. Okay. Actually, you know what? Let's do it right now. Let's just do it. Okay. So here's DeFi perp coming up. Okay. I'm getting DeFi perp. I am getting it. Here it is. Okay. So I haven't looked at this yet. This is ETH DeFi. So this is the 4-hour chart. Okay. It's as simple as this. You had this rectangular consolidation. You could argue this was a double bottom. And this is the upside target in DeFi. So I'll go to a daily chart. Note how the 62% retracement of this entire up move held. Let me get some of this Elliott wave stuff out of the way. Okay. The 62% retracement held. You maybe thought it was a head and shoulders top, but 62% retracement held. And now the upside target from this base is this distance from the point of the breakout, which is a nice way of saying, you see this candle here, how it vaporized on the way down? Yeah, it's just going to melt up on the way up. You just got all kinds of gymnastics today because hedge funds and everybody has to adjust their book because nobody got to adjust it yesterday. Back to the news. Hey, I think somebody out there is watching the stream. Metals, oil, Ethereum price, commodities check. Hey, you mean ETH moves with certain commodities? You mean ETH is a commodity? You mean ETH is the ultimate hedge? Like if you can't buy enough gold or buy enough silver or green paper falls, you know, what do we got? We got Ethereum. We got an Ethereum ETF. We got an Ethereum ETF. Now, SUI sets a new standard for blockchain transaction speed. Hey, people, layer ones, right? It's not just going to be ETH. I mean, it will be initially, but a lot of these other layer ones like SEI, SUI, NEAR, right? Remember, NEAR is supposed to fix everything that's weak about Ethereum. Phantom. These things are all going to turn around and it's going to turn into a layer one and a layer two rally. Oh my God, you see the price action in Optimism and Arbitrum. Optimism is key for base development. I mean, monster moves. Keep in mind, the base network, right, allows you to trade on Ethereum for like marginal or no cost. Like a $3 Coinbase fee. You know, I paid $23 in gas last night and $15 this morning. Now, what I was getting into, I was perfectly happy to pay the gas. But retail is going to be able to have a fiat on-ramp and off-ramp with base. Okay. Breaking. Ethereum meme coin PEPE breaks 5 billion market cap for the first time ever. What do you think is going to happen when normies, remember, normies hit Coinbase? They missed Bitcoin, right? It's not just the institutions that may have missed Bitcoin or had Larry eat their lunch. Retail, the tourists came in, and then this crash, which admittedly was way worse than I would have thought, caused everybody to go out. And then if you follow DCA in May, right, even though I didn't get the crash right, per life in equities, if you miss the crash, okay, don't miss the bottom. Don't miss the bottom because that's where you make all the money, right? I mean, yes, getting out of the way is psychologically comfortable. But frankly, and I know it's not my P&L, it's your P&L, but I had to do with it. I sat in Bitcoin mostly, got stopped out trying to buy on the way down. And then when this thing turns, you know, you can go full Steve J on DeFi and anything else. I mean, in many ways, okay, they are cheapening this up. They are cheapening this up. And oh my God, I just saw a presidential candidate buy GameStop. Oh my God. He supports the retail rebellion. Oh, wow. Oh my God. We'll have to chart GameStop later. Right now, it's down 8% as I speak. Thing about GameStop, this is like a slight digression. You know, the thing about GameStop is whoever is short that, you know, they may get squeezed. And if they get squeezed, that may be yet another dip in crypto. Bitcoin hits a new all-time high against the Argentinian peso. So either people don't want that currency or this new president has got everybody fired up about free markets in Bitcoin. Like I said, you know, if people start to get enthusiastic again, this last crash, I mean, I remember the DeFi crash in the fall of 2020, and I know that scared us all to death, and we thought the bear market was coming back. This felt worse because of the massive euphoria over the Bitcoin ETF. That this was kind of like it was going to sit in a range, and then we were just going to alternate sectors going up. So this one, you really got caught off guard. really got caught off guard. Okay, I'm actually mixing live TA in with the news. If you like that, feel free to comment down below. We're definitely going to need comments and likes today for this stream because of the technical problems. I know that's counterintuitive. I need you to like it even though we messed it up. So I need you to like it even though we messed it up. Okay, Optimism, right? The whole move up, sorry. It hits the 62% retracement. It finally reclaims it. But this was awful. Like, don't think that this was easy, people, because it wasn't. Okay, this is a good thing for the news, honestly. Because first the news was all bearish, and now they have to flip themselves around. Remember, ETH is like, oh no, ETH is inflationary now. Look at how many times they took it below this 62% fib number. They took it down here twice, and look at this give up trade here. Like when you see nothing but red candles, this is people giving up. People are always willing to buy dips like this avalanche. People were willing to buy dips. But when it looked like this was all going to roll over, it was totally down only. This happened across all of base. Normie, DGen was the worst. Like DGen went down like 4 times. 4 times. Tether owns more U.S. treasuries than Germany. Wouldn't it be funny if stablecoin platforms that sovereigns don't seem to like wound up huge buyers of sovereign debt? By the way, stablecoin issuance was spiking prior to this move in ETH. If you looked at Tether and USDC together. Right? Stable coins issuance is like QE for crypto. They buy treasuries and then they leverage them to print stable coins. Like the bond market is going to get increasingly important for crypto. Now, let's spend a little time like this. So the argument against Michael Saylor. Wow. Against Michael Saylor, really? Okay. So this guy is basically saying that, you know, Bitcoin is computer code. Bitcoin is an asset class like any other risk asset. You know, it's leveraged technology stocks. And, you know, the argument is when that all comes crashing down, Bitcoin will get dragged down with it. And it's not as special as Michael Saylor says. And there are always 2 sides to every argument. Here's how I would shake it out. Saylor thinks Bitcoin is the ultimate form of property, and he's probably right about that. But it's not the only form of money. It's not the only form of money, right? For all the things you want to say about ETH and MetaMask, I mean, MetaMask, Phantom, Coinbase wallet, it's a QR code, money from one place to the other. Okay, there's a $1 fee maybe. What do banks charge you every month for a checking account? Mo Money is here. Philip, welcome. ETH BTC, easiest trade ever. I agree. Right. In other words, it's not just Bitcoin. It's never been just Bitcoin, and now it's not just Bitcoin anymore. Bitcoin and people in Bitcoin are going to have to start developing privacy, payment systems, NFTs, right? dApps. You know, the argument for Ethereum, which again, hello, guys, was in Patreon, right? I featured some work by Oh Hey Maddie. What does ETH have that a lot of other platforms don't? A huge dApp repertoire, right? The usefulness of ETH dApps is about to emerge right as everybody gave up on ETH, which is typical. Because I've talked about this all the time in Patreon and other places. When you have everybody giving up on an idea that you know is good, that has been good for a long time. Like, what, we lost confidence in Vitalik? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? He made the altcoin space. He made crypto as you know it. And we're giving up on him. So this is nothing on Michael Saylor, right? But everyone forgot the other side of the argument. Everybody forgot about why it is that layer ones like ETH are great. why other layer ones will eventually aspire to have the types of dApps that ETH has. Just because it's not the optimal meme coin trading platform doesn't mean it's the end of the world. It doesn't. Okay, Ethereum is too hard to use. Okay, yeah, ETH, you have to use MetaMask, but not anymore. You have Base with an Ethereum, a fiat on-ramp and off-ramp. Like, the media is it's like they can't get away from the negativity. So on one hand, ETH is too hard for use. And then, you know what? The institutions will figure out how to make ETH easy to use with an ETF. Thank you very much. $280 million in shorts liquidated. Who was short ETH? Hey, there's a key word in here. There's a new word beginning with the letter after E. Fidelity. Folks, do you know how big Fidelity is? Oh my God. Fidelity, I mean, these companies like Fidelity, Vanguard, BlackRock, State Street, I mean, they own like 80% of the stock out there. Literally. I mean, this is like trillions. So the ETH ETF, like, oh, ETH's up 20% in one day, back to where it was in FTX. Yeah, people, trillions are coming. Do you think that I'm the only analyst that knows when green paper goes down and metals go up, that Ethereum is the thing that you want in your portfolio? And if not, they're watching the show. Yahoo's watching the show. I'm hopefully doing CoinDesk TV down at Consensus. I'm going to tell them. I'm not going to stop saying it. Social media may be putting the brakes on some of my content because I brought up the human meme coins. Well, that's okay, because I'm just going to keep right on saying it. There's a short video like the base case for Ethereum that actually did really well because I had it out 4 or 5 days before everyone else woke up to Ethereum, right? It's like reawakened to Ethereum. Okay, breaking news. Bitcoin hits a new all-time high in Japan. They have problems with their paper money over there. All the tourists left. Now you know who's here? The people who need it. The people who need it. You want to be free? You want to go to a restaurant? I'm serious. Like, how do you protect your purchasing power? You know, the whole idea of crypto as a way to protect yourself against inflation is not discussed. What's discussed is the price of things at Taco Bell. Now, if you want to talk about the price of things at Taco Bell, you need to compare the fast food prices to my Patreon or the reports that are in the Patreon store, which are in the link down below and in the comments. The best thing I ever did as an analyst, at least in my recent memory, about the human meme coins and what's going to happen with interest rates has 13 buyers. And you know what? For those 13 people that are out there, I appreciate your business sincerely. That should have sold 100 copies, because if you were on that about interest rates, you would have been DCA in May and rolling in dough, to be honest. And it's not over. Again, they're hitting Solana today. They're hitting everything today. They're cheapening it up for you. They're doing you a favor. So if you want to talk about a good use of $15, come on, pay us a visit. Ether ETF filing process sees abrupt process, but not guaranteed. Okay? It's not guaranteed. But if they don't approve it, I'm just kind of wondering what kind of light that's going to shine on the people and parties that don't. Particularly with one presidential candidate upping the ante and joining what he perceives to be like a retail rebellion. Okay? In other words, Ethereum can put you back in society. How's that? Ethereum and Bitcoin can restore your inalienable rights. It's not just an ETF. That's why we bring up whatever's going on in Argentina, whatever's going on in Japan, whatever's going on here. I mean, do you want to talk about the price of a Big Mac? Do you want to talk about the fact that it's $40 at McDonald's or whatever? Or do you want to talk about how you afford the $40 at McDonald's? Because whatever's going on in restaurants, the prices aren't going down. Now, of course, everyone is here is in crypto, but if you're new and you just got here, hey, I'm right here. If you need a roadmap in crypto, subscribe to this channel. And we are definitely going to need everybody to hit the like button today, early and often. Okay. All right. Bull Runner is like, tell them. There's like, I don't know, King Coin. There's Virtual. You know what? I'm going to get this up here for Bull Runner. Because to be honest, like we're mixing, we're going back and forth between live TA. We're going back and forth between live TA and news. If you like that, please let us know. Virtual. Okay. A base coin that was utterly destroyed. Back to where it actually started trading. So you had this huge zone. Actually, you had maybe a small zone, like right there. Look how much time base spent giving you, how much time this market spent torturing you. A lot. This is a 4-hour chart. Virtual, if I understand it correctly, is an AI system where you can store AI-generated gaming assets on the blockchain so you can prove who owns it. Now, Virtual has popped. It's not the first thing out of the gate, but you know, you have this sort of support resistance zone. It broke out and it's coming back. It's not a bull market until you can buy a dip and make money. And here's the good news. It is actually giving you a dip. You're getting a dip in Virtual. Sorry to get all wound up, but they're handing it to you. They're handing it to you. Okay. Salos is like, can you do NIBI? Somebody likes the TA, then the news, then the TA, Patriot Caveman. Keeping everybody super interested. All right. We have a new possible feature here. Okay, let's try NIBI on Qcoin. You know, there are a lot of coins out there that look like this, that have just like, they went up and then everybody gave up. Now, I don't know anything about this, but I do know this much. This is a give up trade. I used to talk about this a lot when I worked somewhere else. Man, when you see something go down only like this, if this has any redeeming value, you took out the low. Everybody was miserable. Everybody has given up. Normie, DGen, all of these coins absolutely gave up. Indie Rock Crypto, DCA in May, Moon in June. Wow, I wish I thought of that. I think if anything moons in June, it's going to be ETH. Because, man, if you get the Fed, even if that inflation number is scary, matter of fact, there's a part of me that kind of hopes a little that inflation number is scary. So everybody can just get all excited and we can have one big final panic. Like I couldn't even talk about on the show. I cannot talk about what's going on with macroeconomics. I can't. Right? Like, let's just safe to say that people are miserable and there's quantitative data behind it. There's quantitative data behind it. Okay, PowerPoint, let's go. Okay, we got to go to macro. Yeah, I know. PEPE's up, but we got to go to macro. Notice that the yield on the 10-year note, right? First, they were going to tighten forever. Then they were going to do a rate cut at every meeting. Then they were never doing a rate cut in our lifetime. And now the 10-year note yield is slowly rolling over, right? Interest rates go down when the macroeconomic backdrop gets weak. Interesting, right? Yeah, we got an employment number and we got an inflation number coming up in June in 2 or 3 weeks. interest rates don't seem to be that bothered by what's happening. If anything, TLT, which is a bond ETF on a monthly basis. So interest rates down, bonds or TLT up. You have a DeMark 13 bottom on the monthly chart of TLT. And if you want to see what a 13 signal can do, I got a chart for you for Solana versus Ethereum. Unbelievable. Okay, here is Ethereum on Coinbase. This is a 4-hour chart. So you had resistance at 37.22. ETH kind of broke out. Now it's coming back down. You had a 9 top, which is a pause in a trend. So if ETH hits 37.22 and comes back above it, you better look out. You probably got 3 or 4 days more of ETH going straight up, along with PEPE. ETHE, this is the GBTC of the equity market. I plotted this in Patreon and on the market update versus DXY. And I said ETH bottoms 13 days after the DXY top. 13 days after the DXY top was May 17th. And then ETHE ground through resistance and then boom. And anybody who thinks this resistance, this is $35.71, a slight typo, it's not going to matter. Yeah, maybe it matters the first 2 or 3 times up there. The all-time high in ETH is like, you know, everyone's like, oh, the all-time high. What, you mean like the one in Bitcoin? You mean like 20K in Bitcoin way back in the day? The 2017 high? It's like, oh, God, how are we ever going to get through this? Michael Saylor just came in and said, I'm going to buy it all. Right? I mean, do you think anyone at Wall Street cares about the all-time high when they have money coming in from individuals? The more they talk about fast food, the more they talk about all these things. I mean, if I had a stock account and I didn't want to do Coinbase, or I had an IRA and you told me I could get Bitcoin and Ethereum inside my 401k or inside my IRA, oh my God. Especially with the whole thing moving, right? The tourists left. Now they're going to give new tourists the ETH ETF, and then everybody's going to come back piling in. Everybody. Bitcoin prints 80, ETH prints 5. You're going to have people piling into this market. You're not going to believe it, especially since they're going to be all upset because they came in, left, and then when they come back in, the FOMO is going to be mind-boggling. And then naturally, there's the crypto heads who are trying to tell us on Twitter that the cycle was over. The cycle was over. God, can you have a cycle without ETH? I gave this to Forbes magazine the other day. 13-day RSI just turning. Right? This is no overbought condition yet, not even close. Not that I really care about overbought conditions with this ETF. ETH is above 34.82. I can't even imagine it going back down there unless you have an inflation number that's bad. 41.42 is the next hidden pivot level that's drawn by connecting this point, and this point. 41.42 next, 54.63 for the top. Right? 54.63. You probably have everybody switching back to Solana and ETH. And when that happens, you're going to have people going into altcoins like you don't know. Like, for example, you know, all these base coins. Some of them were worth $100 million and then they went below 20. Crazy. Crazy. Right? How cheap a lot of this stuff has become. Virtual went all the way back down to where it was issued. There's a whole universe on base. Okay, so the personal savings rate, way down. Credit card debt, way up. Okay, the unhappiness index, you know, people are very unhappy. It's actually a little bit below 2008 levels. Underemployment or slack, finding a job, difficult. Hello, Federal Reserve. Bitcoin dominance. So this was very difficult. This is a bearish upward sloping wedge. Let me give you the definition. A bearish upward sloping wedge is a runner on a treadmill, and they're increasing the incline because it's an upward sloping thing. So the higher it slopes, the harder the runner has to go to keep up, and eventually the runner fails. Okay. His body just, cranks out the lactic acid and it's over. And then down it goes. And of course, this was particularly awful because, it looked like it was alt season. And then Bitcoin went up as they had to do a final puke in the whole market. And then they broke out. So this is basically this could be not only a local top, but this could be an intermediate term top in Bitcoin dominance as the ETH has to go to 5,000. Now, I'm sure Bitcoin's going to go along with it. And you may get a bounce in Bitcoin or a correction in ETH or alts, maybe, right, to retest this top line. But, okay, if they give you a chance to DCA in May, the dips may be smaller, but they're going to give you, if they give you the chance, you got to take it because this is an intermediate term top in Bitcoin dominance, most likely. Now, a reminder about meme coins. Dogecoin market cap, 24 billion. Sheep market cap, 15 billion. PEPE, 5 billion. A lot of catching up to do. WIF, 2 billion. Bonk, 2 billion. Human meme coins, 250 million. 300 million. 15 or 18 million for one guy. Can't talk about it anymore. I don't have to, right? If Doge goes to $1, where is the rest of the meme coin universe? And if PEPE, Doge, Sheeb, and MOG start leading, what's going to happen when it's Solana's turn? Retail is going to come back in. And retail isn't going to care that WIF is a 2 billion market cap. They're just going to see, oh, well, maybe this isn't at its all-time high like PEPE. Or they're going to look at Doge and go, wow, Elon Musk has got some difficulties with Tesla. He's got to take an appreciating currency. How long do you think it's going to take before Elon embraces Doge? I keep saying it. And it was the same thing like talking about ETH. One guy on Twitter who I respect, how many chances are you going to get on Doge? You had a lot of chances on ETH and it was up 20% and like that. Okay, ETH on a 4-hour chart. There's your 9 top, which will be a pause. 3,900 is a level on the Ethereum monthly chart. Again, ETH had this 13 top. This was the prayer of the sheepdog. This was sell in May and go away. This was April of 2022. The only thing that's happened here is that ETH is unwound the bear market. That's it. That's it. We haven't done anything new. We're not talking about the need for DeFi. We're not talking about the need for a new financial system. We're not talking about AI. We're not talking about dApps. We're not talking about an ETF. By the way, this ETF is actually in Hong Kong too, right? So, it starts off in Asia, then it comes to America, then it goes back to Asia, then Europe, and everyone does it. Everyone does it. Everyone who missed Bitcoin is going to do ETH. People don't understand the power of this, and this has done absolutely nothing. Okay, yeah, it's close to its high, but all it did was unwind the bearish excess. And this thing was on sale below 3,000 for 2 days. ETH BTC. So this is Ethereum versus Bitcoin. Now, you have a little green candlestick here, but what has really happened in Ethereum versus Bitcoin? Nothing. Nothing has happened. ETH was up 20% in 1 day. So what? It just unwound what was going to be another red candle in the value of Ethereum versus Bitcoin. Do you realize that based on this chart, ETH could outperform Bitcoin for months and months, like years? Big trends have 5 waves, right? The first, third, and fifth wave go in the direction of the trend. The second and fourth wave are corrective. So wave 1, this is according to the DeMark tool. Wave 1, wave 2, wave 3. What's wave 3? Gradually, then suddenly. Outperform over a period of years. And people are like, yeah, ETH's up 20%. I can't buy it. Arthur Hayes was talking about $10,000 and he's not stupid. He said somewhere, I tried to quote it. I tried to find it with ChatGPT. I know he told somebody that was talking about how, ETH was dead. And his answer was, just buy ETH and chill. Not investment advice. Just buy ETH and chill. You know, in 2021, you did just fine if you bought Ethereum at 3,000 and just held it until 4,000. You just didn't do anything else. You know, there was DeFi, there was all this stuff going on. ETH captured a huge amount of value. Huge. ETH captured the value from the dApps running on ETH. And if you're going to tell me people are going to run away from gas fees, they're not running from anything. Yeah, I mean, Solana is fun. Solana brings in eyeballs. Solana is the new Las Vegas, but Solana is also a phone company. So people got to get real about what this Ethereum thing means. It means there could be a refocus on the tech in crypto, and it may not just be meme coins. Noah is here. Renee, welcome. Silas, hello. Leonardo, how you doing? Solana versus Ethereum. You may not be able to see it, but that is a 13 top right at resistance, at which point I was like, you know what? It's time to switch from Solana to Ethereum. And frankly, I got my first bit of it off just in time. Just in time. And then I had to do it, the rest of it, when ETH was up 15%, because I knew that ETH was just going to go. Just going to go. And that is the chart portion of the market update. Okay, let's check to see where everything is right now. Okay, Solana meme coins down. MOG, PEPE up 10%. Okay, ETH still up 2% with Solana down 4%. Okay, DGen up 14%. Look at this. Arrow is down. What's Arrow? Well, Arrow is the trading system behind the base network. So this is the 4-hour chart. I have to share screen. Okay. Again, this is something that we talked a lot about in Patreon, right? It's going to be DGen first, along with Ethereum, because that stuff just got wrecked. Then after something like Arrow consolidates on here, you're probably going to wind up at $1.40 and then $1.74. But the thing that's funny is the market's actually going to give you time to do it. They're going to give you time to do it. And then you have a lot of people, you know, I always say I'm going to go to Bitcoin next. You know, there's a saying when a market bottoms that retail always sells the first uptick. In other words, let's check the head and shoulders target on Bitcoin to see if it actually got there. Okay, so Bitcoin stopped short of its head and shoulders target, which is up here at 73. Now, so everyone is jumping ship on Bitcoin. I wouldn't, because it can go to 73K, but, you know, ETH is the preferred option, I believe. And what you can have with Bitcoin is, you know, you did this thing where it kind of knocked out the low of this box-ish formation, right? You did this here. So you know what you're going to do? You're going to do this up here. Okay. Luis Perez with the super chat. Thoughts on ETHE? I appreciate that, sir. Okay, let's talk about it. I did ETHE in the PowerPoint, but I'm going to do it again for the super chat. And this is how I'm going to do ETHE. Here's the dollar index. Okay. And here comes ETHE. I did this the other day. Oh my God. Sorry. Excuse me. Okay. So dollar index is the candlestick. The orange line is ETHE. 13 days after the top in the dollar, you should get the bottom in Ethereum. You know, man, I know it's resistance in ETHE. So I'll just go to that chart flat up now. I don't see, I mean, it may take, You know, I don't know if this gap is going to get filled. Okay. But this is 35.1. And if they did try to fill any of these gaps, I mean, you would honestly be grabbing it with both hands. This gap in ETH, I mean, it's at 30. I don't know why you would, you know, that's not exactly equivalent to ETH 3000, but you know, if they brought it back down there, I think you would grab it. Okay. And then there's ETCG. ETCG. Grayscale Ethereum Classic. Okay. Ethereum Classic. Why not? Okay. So this is typical throughout the whole universe of crypto. It's everywhere. First, you go down, right? ETCG. And this is a reminder about bull markets, right? Like I had some guy talking to me yesterday. I think it was the market update. I think the guy was like, you know what? All these influencers said when Bitcoin was at 70 that it was set it and forget it. And I got stopped out at 50 something. Bull markets do this, right? So what did this thing do? It broke the trend line. It made you think it was awful, but it held the 62% retracement at 1125. And then it came screaming back above the 38% retracement, which is 1435. And they're coming back down, and it looks like they're giving you the dip. They're giving you a dip. Like ETH should be gone. It's not. It's calm. They're giving you a dip. They're like, oh, okay. Well, you know what? Some of this stuff came back. I've recovered some of the money I've lost, so I'm going to get out. Okay. Well, you do what you have to do. There will be opportunities to buy dips. But if ETH just goes, it'll melt faces. Other altcoins, yeah, because ETH may just dominate. And you can have ETH approval volatility. Driftless is here. Great. Filibuster is here with the salute. I appreciate you, sir. I appreciate you. Then, you know what? Something's going to come back in here at some point, and that's going to be all the different themes. Right? All the different altcoins like Fetch, like anything that's green today, like everything was green yesterday. Anything that's green today. Notice how Fetch breaks out of the triangle and comes back and does a little retest. Okay. No one's talking about, as T-Bone would note, no one's talking about these AI coins that are going to get consolidated. And you know, these guys are going to be at consensus. Okay. Trias. Notice what would happen if this thing came back inside of an expanding triangle after taking out the lows. And you're getting an opportunity today in things like Ondo, right? Ondo down 3%, Ohm down 3%. In my opinion, like one day in Ohm, you're going to be like, I could have bought it below $1. Ohm right now, I'm sorry, Ondo right now is at 93 cents. And they were hitting it this morning, the target of the diamond after one of the worst fake outs I've seen in a long time on a diamond, Doge. Doge took out the neckline of this head and shoulders bottom formation. So the right shoulder of a big pattern is a head and shoulders pattern unto itself. And basically what this says to me is that Doge is just going to take out 20 cents. Because when you break a neckline like this and don't fall back below it necessarily, it just is up only. So you got to really, really, really ask yourself, you know, is my book positioned correctly? Is it? Now, that doesn't mean you have to FOMO in right this second, but like, do I have enough exposure to ETH? Am I looking at value investing on base? Right? Do I want to look at big cap meme coins? Nobody said you can't do meme coins. Are you looking at DeFi? Maple, Ribbon. There's a DeFi report in Patreon. Cross-chain. Oh my God, cross-chain. Did I look at cross-chain? Where's cross-chain? Did I look at Rune? No, probably not. Dusk is up 4%. A fast-moving layer one for finance. Rune. Oh, look, Rune down 7%. Oh my God. Jingle Bell Rock. Christmas. Right? Like I don't know where I can try to find a support point. How about a 38% retracement of the overall up move off ETH? 663 if they hit it. $6.63. I'm pretty sure Rune, which represents cross-chain trading, right? Bitcoin, ETH, Solana. Rune usually does very well. It kind of follows Solana. Okay, I think Solana versus Ethereum has had enough, and this whole thing could turn around in a matter of a couple of days. They are giving you the DCA in May. Okay, ETH is not boomer coin. ETH is the backbone of finance, a new internet, take your pick. Ethereum is money. Money is necessary. I don't know how much better the macro can get. Macro can come and go, but Wall Street knows about the macro. Wall Street knows that people are going to want this in their investing funds. And Wall Street knows what's going on at Taco Bell and McDonald's. And the best way to push back against people who don't like you is the green button. Please visit Patreon. Please hit the like button on the way out. And please accept my gratitude to our Patreon subscribers and anyone who stayed with the stream today. I salute you. We'll see you tomorrow.